So first and foremost, I want to talk to you about the use of Egypt in this film, because when we see films about that area, it's always very caricature-y, and it feels very intentionally not here. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was absolutely the intent that it would feel authentic. I think I wanted every character in the movie to track in an authentic fashion. So I knew I wanted, in order for the story to be told, I knew I wanted the family to be real. And that family then would be placed against, some terrible forces. But if the family were going to be real, so did the other characters, and the Egyptian side of the story needed to ring true as well. Because it's actually a story about two families. Also, there's the family we're dealing with, but there's also how another family's choices have impacted this family, so as to not spoil anything. But authenticity was vital, finding actors that could perform in a really naturalistic way, and also bringing in some incredible Egyptian cast, which was one of the things that was so exciting. And some of the scenes that they share together are some of my favourite moments in the movie.
Can you expand a little bit on that?
On which scenes?
Your favorite moments.
Oh, look,
just broadly speaking.
Look, I'm always going to love the moments that make people jump and squirm and scream and be entertained, and those fun horror moments are always going to be really important to me, because I always get a kick making them. People always know it's worked on set when I start laughing, and I laughed a lot while I was making this movie. But I think there's a particular scene, between our detective Zaki and between this character Layla, where we're very close to the reveal of a secret in the movie in this kind of interview room, and I think it's a very powerful sequence between the two of those. And for me, getting to direct through Arabic as well, and also in Spanish, I had to brush up on all of my languages to make the movie. But yeah, I think some of those scenes are really great.
Yeah. So going back to the authenticity of it, we see both digital and practical in basically all films now, and even practical is touched up a bit. But I'm curious about where you wanted to draw the line, or where you made the decision between this has to be practical. It's important for this, that this is a practical moment, versus, what, let's do this digital.
I think, because I know you as a filmmaker would approach it the same way, James. It's like, for me, it's practical. It's all practical until we can't. Is the starting point. And of course there's things like, if I had been able to get enough sand to blow at that house, and maybe a number of fighter jets that I could use to propel that sand towards the house, trust me, I would have.
I would say early on we felt that the main character, the mummy itself, needed to, Katie, the mummy, needed to be practical. We felt like everything surrounding her and the effects that go around what happens to her needed to be practical as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. But always pushing the boat out and making everything as real as we can, Right. And I always try and use visual effects, in terms of CG, I try and use it to refine, but not to define. I want to define the effect myself in a real tactile way. And then if we need assistance to de-rig some ropes so someone can fly across a room or extend a landscape, that's all great, but it's building off the real.
Yeah. So we've only got time for one more, but I'm glad you mentioned the sarcophagus. I want to ask about how you approached the design of that, and specifically on the insides, what made you lean towards leather versus traditional wrappings?
Yeah, I think I wanted it to be something that had a very simple silhouette and wasn't ostentatious in any way, so it was kind of the opposite of what you're used to seeing. That was an important thing for me, and I wanted it to be kind of made of just this very basic stone, this basalt, and that it would stand out, not dissimilar to the beginning of 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's setting a very high bar, but it was definitely an influence visually for the presentation of it. And then in terms of what was inside it, there's lots of layers to this. If you think about it, you've got, again, without spoiling too much, but you've got a person. You've also got what's wrapped around that person. Then you've also got the additional layers around that in terms of when she's in the sarcophagus and she's tied up. And then you've got the writing on the inside. There's all these different layers and mechanisms where if you look at this evil force or monster like some sort of crazy nuclear or toxic waste, you're going to try all these different fail safes. And I just kind of liked that idea of there being these, what's on her skin, but then beyond that wouldn't be the same trick again. It would be something different.
Wrapping with flash is kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And that's, there is plenty of skin at play. We put a lot of skin in the game.
That's 2 puns now.
Yes.
No more for you. That is our time today. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Take care.